Here we go. Manchester United have just signed Patrick Dorgu from Lecce for £25 million plus add-ons. Before we get into today's video, please do me a favor, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. I bring you all of the latest news on Manchester United, so make sure you get involved and be sure to give this video a like. Let's try and see 1,000 likes and get in the comment section with the words "Welcome Patrick Dorgu." Go and do that right now. Okay, so this is obviously coming out from Fabrizio Romano in the last couple of minutes. I'll read out the full article for you, and then obviously we can react to it as a community here. So he says, Patrick Dorgu to Manchester United. Here we go. Agreement now in place with Lecce. Documents to be finalised in the next 24 hours. He says the fee will be £25 million plus also £4 million in add-ons. So it's 25 million up front plus 4 million in add-ons. So the total deal at the very, very most would be worth £29 million. He does, however, say that the add-ons are not guaranteed and are based on performance. So if Patrick Dorgu comes to Manchester United and in a couple of years he's one of the best players in the world, Lecce will get their extra £4 million. If he comes to Manchester United and he's a squad player and doesn't play many games, then they won't. So it's not really much of a risk. £25 million is a relatively small amount of money to invest in a young, exciting, talented player. I'm really, really excited about this deal. I think it's great to finally see Ruben Amorim getting a player that he actually wants. I've been doing a bit more research on the guy. I've been watching loads of videos, reading scout reports, and the leading kind of thing with this player is his athleticism, which is exactly what Ruben Amorim needs in his side. He needs players who are just willing to run. And the other thing with Patrick Dorgu is he's very physical, which is something that obviously in the Serie A is not really required. Serie A is more of a technical league, isn't it? Whereas the Premier League, you need to be physical. So he's fast, he's strong, which for me is exactly what you need for Manchester United. Now, just to be very, very fair, he isn't the finished article yet. He still has a lot of developing to do. And there are some people who are even saying that maybe he's not quite ready to go straight into the first team. I'm not sure. I mean, that's up to the manager. For me, this is a first team signing. Like, we're bringing him in to play. But there are still some question marks in relation to whether he will be immediately in the team. Obviously, he's not going to be in the team for the game on Thursday against Bucharest. That's not going to happen. But with him apparently coming for a medical in the next couple of days, maybe we'll see him maybe for the FA Cup game against Leicester. Maybe he'll be on the bench. But you have to remember with this guy, he is very young, he's very talented, he's very raw, he has a lot of developing to do. He can play in, at the moment, I think about 4 different positions. So he's going to be a very valuable asset for Manchester United and for Ruben Amorim. The fact that he can play as a left back, the fact that he can play as a wing back, the fact that he's played as a right winger a lot this season as well will be very useful for us. So I'm excited. I think it's a good bit of business. I think £25 million in the grand scheme of things is not too bad. It's a little bit over his market value, but the way I look at it is Manchester United are paying for potential. I would say his market value is probably £20 million and we're paying 25, right? So we are getting our pants pulled down a little bit, but it's not awful. I think the best kind of reference point for Patrick Dorgu is obviously when you look at Tottenham in the last couple of years, they obviously signed Udogie from the Serie A, and I think they paid about £18 million for Udogie. So you get a bit of a reference point. He played in the same league, in the same position, was a similar age profile, and they got him for just under 20. But you know, every player's different, every club's different. Manchester United have a bigger budget than Tottenham, and Manchester United in the market have always paid more money on players. So although maybe it's a little bit over what I would have thought would have been a deal, I don't think we've vastly overpaid. I think 25 million in the grand scheme of things is not the end of the world. Could we have got him for less? Yes. But you know, overall, I'm happy. I think he's a good signing. But I'd love to know what you guys all think about this. How do you feel about Patrick Dorgu, £25 million joining Manchester United? Deal confirmed. Now, in relation to his wages, because I know a lot of people are really, really interested in these types of things. So let's talk about his wages really, really quickly, because Fabrizio has been talking about this particular topic. So, in relation to wages, apparently he's going to earn £1.5 million per season, which is not terrible when you think that Marcus Rashford's on about 15 million a season. It would mean that Patrick Dorgu over the course of the year will be paid. Let me just do the maths really quickly. So if he's getting 1.5 million divided by 52 weeks, it's about just under 30 grand a week. So it's really not very much money, to be fair. I think it's a very reasonable wage to give a player. Now, just to give you the full picture, he was only on 5 grand a week at Lecce, so he is getting 6 times his current Lecce salary. But, I mean, you're going from Lecce, who are a team at the bottom of the Serie A, to Manchester United, who, to be fair, are a team at the bottom of the Premier League. But obviously we have a lot more money than Lecce, so that's obviously going to be expected. So there's not any stupid contracts being given out here. It's not like when we signed, I think we gave Højlund like 100 grand a week or something, which is absolutely baffling when you think that when he was at Atalanta, I think he was only on about 20 or 30, and we gave him a massive pay rise. He's on crazy money for what he's contributing. And I'm not trying to single out Højlund here. There's so many players in our team that are massively overpaid. But the reason I brought up Højlund was he was coming from the same league. He was a similar age and he was earning a similar amount of money at Atalanta. And Manchester United was stupid enough to say, here's a massive amount of money to come and join the club. And, it was the same with Joshua Zirkzee, Serie A player, still relatively young. I think he was 22 when we signed him, and we've given him 105 grand a week, Joshua Zirkzee. So this 30 grand that we're giving to Patrick Dorgu would mean that he is the third lowest paid player at Manchester United. The only people below him are Kobbie Mainoo and Toby Collier. So when you look at it like that, you can't really complain. 1.5 million a season is not very much, but that was what made me a little bit worried, to be honest, because I spoke to a couple of people, and I actually watched as well earlier on today on Saeed TV. Big up Saeed. He had a Lecce fan on his channel. That was a really interesting video, so go and check that out if you haven't seen it. And the Lecce fan that was on the channel was effectively saying that he's not ready to start for Manchester United, and I think that maybe reflects in his wage. The wage he's been given is literally the bottom of what we pay. The only people below him, as I said, were Mainoo and Collier. Mainoo's obviously a first-team player now, negotiating a new deal, and Toby Collier's only played 2 or 3 games for United in his whole career. Now, if Patrick Dorgu comes in and he's a first-team player starting every single game and he's on less than 30 grand a week, then fair play to Manchester United, if they've managed to pull that off. But it does make me a little bit concerned that maybe he is going to come in as a rotational player and he's not going to be a starting player. Whereas at the moment, we need players who can go straight into that first team, to be honest, because I think we've got so many gaps, so many issues that, having a bench player isn't really of any use to us anymore. We need someone who's going to start. I think he can start. I think he's good enough from what I've seen. Obviously, as I said, he's very raw, but I'm excited to see what he can offer. And as I said, if he does become a starting player and we're only paying him less than 30 grand a week, then that's absolutely phenomenal. This does now mean, though, that Malacia probably will leave the club on loan, which is sensible. Again, Malacia is another example. Malacia at Manchester United is being paid 75 grand a week. We bought him 3 years ago when he was just turning 22. He was on about 10 grand a week at his previous club, and we gave him 75 grand a week. So the reason I keep bringing up this money is because I think, there's some people in this fan base who are going to be really fine picking on the fact that we overpaid by 5 million, which, fine, maybe we did. But I think the fact that we've agreed a really low wage with the player kind of substitutes for the fact that maybe we overpaid for him. Because, if you look at it over a 5-year period, right? He's signing a 5-year contract, and we're only paying him 1.5 million per season, right? So if we were to say give him 50, 60 grand a week, which doesn't sound that unreasonable. When you think Johnny Evans is on 65 grand a week, Malacia is on 75 grand a week, Dallow's on 85 grand a week, Lindelof's on 120 grand a week. We overpay massively already. And the point I'm making here is that if we were to have given him 60k a week, which still would have made him one of the lowest earners at the club, that would have meant over the 5 years of his contract, he would be paid about 6 million more than what we're paying him. Does that make sense? So I'm happy with this, because I think when you look at the salary that he's receiving, which is really low, versus the fact that we slightly overpaid for him, I think it levels out. And if he lives up to the potential that we think he will, then I think we've got ourselves a really good deal. So I'm happy about this. Obviously, it's Ruben Amorim's first signing. We need to make sure we get behind the player, get behind him, back him. As I said, I don't think he's the finished article. I think it is going to take time. I don't think he's going to immediately be, world class, but I want to see him getting lots of opportunities. And it'll be very interesting to see what position he plays in. Will it be the left wing back role? Will he be playing further up the pitch? I personally think left wing back or right wing back would be the preferred option for him, because at the moment, obviously Malacia looks like he's going to leave and Luke Shaw's injured. So put him in at left wing back, see how he gets on, and let's get behind the player. I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. It was just a quick one to bring you the update on Patrick Dorgu. He is a Manchester United player. It is a here we go, £25 million. Before you leave today's video, make sure to subscribe, smash a like on the video. This has been Daily Red Devil, and I'll speak to you all on the next one. Bye for now.